I was standing in my parents' living room on Christmas night, surrounded by the warmth of family, the scent of pine from the 7-foot tree, and the soft glow of golden lights draped across every corner. My hand was wrapped around a small velvet box in my coat pocket, and my heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. Stephanie was laughing with my mother near the fireplace, her red dress catching the light, her hair falling in perfect waves over her shoulders. This is it, I thought. This is the moment I have been dreaming about for months. But there was something in her eyes, when she glanced at me, something cold, that I did not recognize, something I chose to ignore. I had no idea that in less than 10 minutes, the woman I loved would spit in my face and destroy everything I thought we had right in front of my entire family. Before I tell you what happened next, I need to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you have ever had your heart broken during the holidays, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to hear more real stories like this one. Trust me, you are going to want to stick around for how this ends. So, let me take you back to how I got to that moment. Stephanie and I had been together for 2.5 years. We met at a coffee shop in Portland on a rainy Tuesday morning. She was rushing to a meeting, balancing her phone purse and a large cappuccino, and somehow managed to collide directly with me as I was opening my laptop at a corner table. The coffee went everywhere, all over my keyboard, my shirt, the table. I expected her to apologize quickly and leave, but instead, she stood there horrified, and then she started laughing. Not a polite laugh, but a real uncontrollable laugh that made her snort. I could not help but laugh too. She insisted on buying me a new laptop, which I refused, and we ended up talking for 2 hours. That was how it started. Stephanie was 27, 3 years younger than me. She had long brown hair that always smelled like vanilla, green eyes that sparkled when she smiled, and this energy about her that made every room feel brighter. I worked as a software engineer for a tech startup in downtown Portland. Nothing fancy, but stable and growing. Stephanie worked in marketing for a boutique agency. The first year we were together felt like something out of a movie. We went camping in the Cascade Mountains, cooked elaborate dinners together on weekends, and spent entire Sundays watching movie marathons under blankets. She fit into my life so perfectly. My family adored her. My mother would always say, "She is perfect for you, honey," whenever Stephanie left the room. I believed her. But around 6 months before that, Christmas, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Stephanie began mentioning things. Her friends had designer handbags, expensive vacations, new cars. She would scroll through Instagram and sigh, pointing at photos of luxury homes and saying, "Would it not be amazing to live somewhere like that?" I brushed it off, thinking she was just daydreaming. Everyone does that. But then she started comparing. Her friend Jessica got engaged, and Stephanie showed me the ring, a massive 3-carat diamond that probably cost more than my car. "Wow," she said, staring at the photo. "Now that is a ring." I laughed it off, but something about the way she said it made my stomach twist. Then came the restaurants. We had a favorite Italian place we went to at least once a month, a cozy spot with red checkered tablecloths and the best lasagna in the city. One night I suggested we go there for our anniversary. Stephanie frowned and said, "Can we go somewhere more upscale for once? I want to dress up and feel special." I was confused. That place always made us happy. But I agreed, and we went to a steakhouse downtown where the bill came to over $200. She smiled the whole night, took photos of everything, posted them online. I thought maybe she just wanted something different. I tried not to let it bother me. Despite these little moments, I still loved her deeply. I thought about our future, constantly imagined us married, maybe buying a small house outside the city, starting a family someday. I decided that proposing would show her how committed I was, that it would prove I was serious about building a life together. So I started planning. I saved every extra dollar I could for 3 months, skipping lunches, cutting back on anything unnecessary. I ended up with about $12,000, which felt like a fortune to me. I went to a jewelry store on a Saturday afternoon, nervous and excited. The woman behind the counter was patient, showing me different styles until I found the one. It was a 1-carat diamond set in white gold, simple and elegant, with a classic round cut that caught the light beautifully. The woman smiled and said, This ring is perfect for a woman with timeless taste. I felt proud. I felt ready. I decided to propose on Christmas. My family always hosted a big gathering at their house with about 20 people, aunts, uncles, cousins, close family friends. Everyone loved Stephanie, and I thought it would be the perfect moment surrounded by the people who mattered most. My mother had been hinting for months that she hoped I would propose soon. "She is the one, Hunter," she would say, patting my hand. "Do not let her get away." I was not planning to. The night before Christmas, I lay in bed, unable to sleep. Stephanie was next to me, breathing softly, completely unaware of what I had planned. The ring box sat on my nightstand, and I kept glancing at it in the dark, my heart racing. Tomorrow, everything changes, I thought. Tomorrow, I ask her to be my wife. I fell asleep with a smile on my face, completely unaware that I was about to experience the worst moment of my life. Christmas morning arrived cold and bright. My parents' house was buzzing with activity by the time we got there around 11. The tree stood tall in the corner of the living room, decorated with gold and silver ornaments and white lights that twinkled against the windows. The smell of roasted turkey drifted from the kitchen, mixing with cinnamon and pine. The fireplace crackled with a warm fire, and Christmas music played softly in the background. It was perfect. Stephanie wore a red dress that hugged her figure, paired with black heels and delicate gold jewelry. She had curled her hair and done her makeup flawlessly. She looked stunning. But as I watched her move through the house, greeting my relatives with bright smiles and laughter, I noticed something off. Her smile did not quite reach her eyes. Her laugh sounded forced, like she was performing. I shook it off, telling myself I was just nervous about the proposal. Dinner was loud and chaotic in the best way. My Aunt Susan told the same story she tells every year about the Christmas she accidentally set the tree on fire. My younger cousins argued over who got the bigger slice of pie. My father carved the turkey with exaggerated precision, making everyone laugh. Stephanie sat next to me, picking at her food, checking her phone more than usual. "Are you okay?" I whispered. She nodded quickly. "Just tired," she said. I squeezed her hand under the table. After dinner, everyone migrated back to the living room. My father suggested we start opening presents, but I stood up before he could continue. "Actually," I said, my voice shaking slightly, "before we do that, I have something I want to say." The room went quiet. All eyes turned to me. I felt the weight of the ring box in my pocket. This was it. I walked over to Stephanie and took her hand. She looked at me confused as I led her to the center of the room. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear anything else. My mouth felt dry. I could feel my hands trembling. I took a deep breath and began. "Stephanie, when I met you 2.5 years ago, I knew you were special. You made me laugh when I was stressed. You challenged me to be better. You made every single day brighter just by being in it." I saw my mother wipe her eyes. My sister Sarah was smiling so wide. I got down on one knee, pulling the ring box from my pocket. The room held its breath. "Will you marry me?" For a moment, nothing happened. Stephanie stared down at the ring. The silence stretched on, heavy and suffocating. Then her face changed. The polite smile disappeared, replaced by something I had never seen before. Disgust. Pure, undisguised disgust. "Are you serious right now?" she said, her voice cold and flat. I blinked, confused. What I managed to say. She picked up the ring, holding it up to the light, then turned to face everyone in the room. "Look at this," she said loudly. "Look at this pathetic excuse for a ring." I felt the air leave my lungs. The room was frozen. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Stephanie continued, her voice dripping with contempt. 1 carat. 1 carat. You expect me to say yes to this? My friend Jessica got a 3-carat ring. 3. And here you are offering me this joke. I stood up, my legs shaking. "Stephanie, I spent everything I had on that ring." She cut me off with a sharp laugh. "That is exactly the problem, Hunter. You do not have anything. You think I am going to marry a guy who works at some nobody startup, who drives a 10-year-old Honda, who thinks a nice date is Olive Garden. The words hit me like punches. I could see my mother's face pale and horrified. My father looked like he wanted to say something but could not find the words. My little sister Sarah started crying quietly. "Stephanie, that is enough," my mother said, her voice shaking. Stephanie whipped around. "Stay out of this," she snapped. I just stood there, paralyzed, unable to process what was happening. This was not real. This could not be happening. Then Stephanie stepped closer to me. She looked me dead in the eyes, and she spat in my face. I felt the warm wetness hit my cheek. Someone gasped. Sarah let out a small scream. Time seemed to stop. Stephanie threw the ring onto the floor where it bounced once and landed near the Christmas tree. "We are done," she said. "Do not ever contact me again." She grabbed her coat from the rack, her heels clicking sharply against the hardwood floor, and slammed the door behind her. The sound echoed through the silent house. I stood there, frozen, the spit still wet on my face. I could not move. Could not think. Could not breathe. My mother rushed over, tears streaming down her face, and gently wiped my cheek with a cloth napkin. "Oh, honey," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I am so sorry. I am so sorry." My father bent down and picked up the ring from the floor, closing the box carefully before handing it back to me. His jaw was tight, his eyes full of anger and sadness. Nobody knew what to say. The Christmas music still played softly in the background, a cruel contrast to what had just happened. My Aunt Susan was crying. My Uncle Joe looked furious. Sarah ran over and threw her arms around me. "She is horrible," she sobbed into my shoulder. "You deserve so much better, Hunter. You deserve so much better." I hugged her back, but I felt numb, empty. Like someone had hollowed me out and left nothing behind. But then, something strange happened. As I stood there, surrounded by my family, I felt something else starting to creep in. Relief. A tiny spark of it buried under the humiliation and pain. Wait, I thought. I just dodged a bullet. Part of me wanted to collapse and cry. Part of me wanted to run after her and demand an explanation. But another part, a quiet, rational part, whispered, "You are free now. You are free from someone who saw you as nothing more than a paycheck. Someone who valued a diamond over your heart." I spent the night at my parents' house. I could not face going back to the apartment Stephanie and I shared. I lay in my old childhood bed, staring at the glow in the dark stars. I had stuck to the ceiling when I was 12. My phone sat silent on the nightstand. No calls. No texts. Nothing from her. I thought I would feel devastated, but instead I felt strangely calm. Maybe this is shock, I thought. Maybe the pain will come later. But deep down I knew the truth. I was relieved. The next morning I woke up to the smell of coffee and pancakes. My mother always made pancakes the morning after Christmas. I walked downstairs to find my family gathered around the kitchen table. They all looked at me with concern and love. My father poured me a cup of coffee and sat down across from me. "Son," he said carefully, "I know it hurts right now, but she showed you who she really is. That is a gift. A painful gift, but a gift." My mother nodded, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. "Any woman who would do that does not deserve you," she said. "You are kind, hardworking, and loving. The right person will see that." I nodded slowly, letting their words sink in. I realized they were right. Stephanie had not destroyed me. She had freed me. I pulled out my phone and blocked her number. Blocked her on every social media platform, deleted every photo of us together. I was not going to let her back in. Not after what she did. 3 days later, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Hunter, we need to talk." I knew it was Stephanie. She must have borrowed someone's phone or gotten a new number. I deleted the message without responding. The next day, more texts came. "I am sorry. I was overwhelmed. Can we please just talk? I made a mistake." I did not read them. I just kept deleting. A week after Christmas, I was at work when our receptionist called my desk. "There is a woman here named Stephanie asking for you," she said, sounding uncomfortable. Tell her I am not available, I replied. The receptionist hesitated. She says, it is urgent. Tell her I am not available, I repeated firmer this time. The receptionist said okay and hung up. I heard later that Stephanie had stood in the lobby for 20 minutes before finally leaving. She did not give up. She sent long emails that I never opened. She created new Instagram accounts to message me. She even reached out to our mutual friends. My best friend Marcus called me one afternoon. Dude, he said, Stephanie just called me crying. She says she needs you back. That she made a huge mistake. What did you tell her? I asked. I told her she is insane and hung up, Marcus said flatly. Good, I replied. 2 weeks after Christmas, I was walking to my car in the parking garage after work when I saw her. Stephanie was leaning against my car, arms crossed, looking like she had not slept in days. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, no makeup, eyes, red and swollen. Hunter, she said quietly. Please. Just 5 minutes. I sighed, exhausted. Fine, I said. We sat in my car, the engine off, the silence heavy between us. She started talking, her voice shaking. I do not know what came over me. I was stressed, I was scared of commitment. I love you, Hunter. I have always loved you. That ring, it was beautiful. I was just overwhelmed. I stared straight ahead, not looking at her. Please, she continued, her voice breaking. Can we try again? I will do anything. She reached for my hand. I will go to therapy. I will change. Just give me one more chance. I turned to look at her then. I felt nothing. No anger, no love, no sadness. Just a deep, hollow emptiness, and maybe a little pity. Stephanie, I said calmly, you did not just reject the ring. You humiliated me in front of the people I love most. You spat in my face. You called me pathetic. That is not stress. That is not fear. That is who you are. No, it is not. She protested, tears streaming down her face. Yes, it is, I said firmly. And I am grateful you showed me before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I am grateful I did not marry you. Because now I know exactly what I do not want. I opened the car door. Goodbye, Stephanie. Do not contact me again. She sat there, sobbing, unable to move. I got out, closed the door, and walked back toward my office building. I did not look back. The first month after Christmas was hard, I will not lie. I avoided places Stephanie and I used to go. I took a different route to work, so I would not pass the coffee shop where we met. At night, when I was alone in my apartment, I would think about the good times we had back before everything changed and wonder if any of it had been real. Was I just a placeholder? A safety net, until someone better came along. The questions kept me awake. But slowly things started to get better. Marcus and my other friends made a point to check in more often. They invited me out, refused to let me sit at home feeling sorry for myself. We went bowling, watched basketball games at sports bars, took a weekend trip to hike Mount Hood. My sister Sarah called me almost every day just to talk about nothing, her way of making sure I was okay. My family became my anchor, reminding me that I was loved, that I had value beyond what I could buy for someone. Work helped too. Our startup had been struggling for a while, but right after New Year, we landed a major investor. The company started growing fast, and I threw myself into my work. I stayed late, took on extra projects, anything to keep my mind busy. In March, my boss called me into his office and told me I was being promoted to senior engineer, along with a significant raise. Congratulations, he said, shaking my hand. You have earned this. For the first time in months, I felt proud of myself. I also started focusing on things I had neglected. I joined a gym and started working out regularly. It felt good to push my body, to have a goal I could control. I taught myself how to cook more than just pasta and scrambled eggs, experimenting with recipes I found online. I read books about relationships, about self-worth, about what it means to truly love someone. One book said something that stuck with me. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. I realized I had spent so much time trying to make Stephanie happy that I had forgotten to take care of myself. I was not going to make that mistake again. By June, 6 months after that awful Christmas night, I felt like a different person. I was stronger both physically and mentally. I was happier. I was at peace. I no longer thought about Stephanie every day. When memories of her did surface, they did not hurt anymore. They were just memories, nothing more. I even started thinking about dating again. Though I was in no rush. If the right person came along, great. If not, I was okay on my own. I was complete all by myself. Looking back now, I can see that night for what it really was. It was not the worst thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing. Stephanie did not destroy me. She freed me. She showed me exactly who she was, before I legally bound myself to her, before we had children, before I wasted any more years. That Christmas night was not an ending. It was a beginning. A painful, humiliating beginning, but a beginning nonetheless. I learned that love is not about expensive rings or fancy restaurants or impressive job titles. Love is about respect, kindness, partnership. It is about someone who sees you at your most vulnerable and chooses to lift you up, not tear you down. Someone who truly loves you would never humiliate you, especially not in front of your family. Stephanie taught me what I do not want, and in doing so, she taught me what I do deserve. I also learned about self-respect. I deserve better than someone who sees me as a bank account. I deserve someone who loves me for who I am, not what I can buy. I deserve someone who values character over carrots, and I will never settle for less than that again. As for Stephanie, I do not hate her. Honestly, I feel sorry for her. She is going to spend her life chasing material things, always wanting more, never satisfied. And she is going to miss out on real connection. That is punishment enough. I do not need to wish anything bad on her. Her choices will catch up with her eventually. I still have that ring. It sits in my dresser drawer, tucked away in its velvet box. I keep it as a reminder not of heartbreak but of my worth. It reminds me that I was willing to give everything I had to someone I loved. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is beautiful. Someday, I will give that ring to someone who deserves it. Someone who will say yes, because she loves me. Not because of the size of the diamond. Someone who will cry happy tears, not tears of disappointment. Someone who will be proud to stand beside me, not ashamed. And when that day comes, I will know that I dodged a bullet on that Christmas night. Because sometimes, the worst moments lead us to the best versions of ourselves. Sometimes rejection is just redirection. Sometimes a closed door is the universe protecting you from something that would have destroyed you. I believe that now. I truly do. So if you are going through something similar right now, if someone has made you feel small or unworthy or not enough, I want you to know this. You are enough. You have always been enough. The right person will see that. And the wrong person walking away is not a loss. It is a gift. Trust me. I know. Have you ever had a moment where rejection turned out to be redirection? Have you ever realized that the worst thing that happened to you was actually a blessing in disguise? Drop your story in the comments below. I would love to hear it. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more real stories about life, love, and everything in between. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. You never know who might need the reminder that they deserve better. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it helped you in some way. Wishing you all love, respect, and the courage to walk away from anything that does not serve you. Take care of yourselves. You deserve it.